Hey everyone, this is Mark Hirsch. Welcome to the Super Parents Show. I'm so glad you joined me. Moms and dads, one of the world's smallest nations consistently leads the world in terms of innovation. It's actually the 101st nation by size with a population of just 9 million people. It's about the same number of people that live in the state of New Jersey. And outside of Silicon Valley, this tiny nation has the highest concentration of technology companies. In fact, 250 major multinational tech companies have R&D hubs there. Apple, Microsoft, Google, IBM, HP, the list is a who's who of top tech corporations. And I'm talking, of course, about the nation of Israel. The Bloomberg Innovation Index ranks the USA as number 8, and Israel ranks as number 5 in the list of the most innovative nations. So what makes this tiny nation so innovative? And how can that help you raise more successful children? You're about to find out. I'm here with world-famous education hacker, Opher Brayer, winner of the 2018 Tribeca Disruptive Innovation Award. He was one of the original creators of the Israeli Defense Forces Innovation Unit. Opher coaches the best and the brightest in Silicon Valley, and he's taught innovation at many leading companies, including Disney Imagineering, IBM, HP, major automakers, and entire nations call on Opher for his groundbreaking techniques, and he is transforming schools all over the world. Today, he's going to show you how it's possible to develop a child's capabilities and talents to raise more successful children by making your children more innovative. But before we welcome our special guest, please give me your full attention now. If you have your cell phone in the other hand, and if you've got other windows open on your browser, I want you to put those things away right now. Are we ready to go? Yes? Okay. Opher, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us what enables Israel to be such a powerhouse of innovation?
First of all, it has to do with the history of Israel. Israel has two problems. We are surrounded by enemies. We are being attacked for the past 70 years. Now, when you defend a country, one of the resources you have to create is urgency. And we came to a country which is most of it is like in a desert zone, and there are no natural resources. So in order to create natural resources, what you need is the ability to innovate the resources. Because if you are rich, you can buy resources. If you're not rich, you can create resources. So in order to create resources, you need to be highly innovative. And we were trying to improvise becoming innovative country and highly entrepreneurial because there was nothing here. So you needed to build everything like schools, businesses, everything in. So Israel became highly innovative and entrepreneurial and used very well the academic resources. 20 years ago, we had like 1 million immigrants coming into the country from Russia, and we didn't know what to do with them. And they were highly educated in the academics, engineering, and science. So we created small hubs for them to see what will happen if they can innovate new solutions and new unnatural resources. And it worked well, and the government decided to invest in innovation and entrepreneurs by giving them loans and helping them to build it. And it became the nation's vision and mission. And everybody wants to build a startup and sell a startup and grow the GDP of the country and become rich.
That's awesome. And Opher, can you explain, like, could innovation actually be taught, and how? How is that possible?
Well, innovation can be taught because I will give you an example. What is innovation? Okay, it's not invention. So innovation basically is when you have a telephone and you have, let's say, a camera that's digital, and you find the common denominator is the digital language between them, and you connect them together and you call them iPhone. So and basically what we do in innovation, we basically use two words, copy change. I'm using them together because every innovation is copying something from somewhere else, combine it together and make some changes. Because the rule is A plus B, which means like two elements that you can copy from somewhere, take them, connect them together by some kind of common denominator and make just changes to it with some systems. And you will see that it's so easy to innovate endless ideas and endless concepts and endless products and endless services. It's totally just a game of Lego. If it connects, and that's it.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, Opher, I know that you had worked on a special program with the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF. Can you tell us what was your role in developing innovation skills in thousands of Israeli youth?
Well, and I will just tell you this. If you go online and you read about the innovation units of the Israeli army, and you can find it on the internet, it's not something that is hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So you will find something really interesting about this unit, that we take kids in Israel, and when they are young, we give opportunity to everyone to be developed in sciences, in the arts, and in different technological skills. And slowly, we build those people who have understanding in sciences and imagination and technology and engineering, development skills. So if you do it from very young age to kids, and slowly you choose the best ones over time, so you can invest on 200,000, and then you choose 20,000 when they get to 14 years old, and then you choose the top 2,000, and you send them to this unit, and they have to defend the country by creating innovation. And then you can find that those kids are building all the startups after they're leaving this Israeli army unit. Our involvement was understanding what these units need, what kind of brains, what kind of innovative ideas, concepts they need. And we created different courses to train kids here in Israel in different places for different types of kids in different cities, just in order to enable them to become innovators from young age and be connected to sciences and to arts but in a very, very, very systematic way. And so some of our kids, not all of them, some of our kids in our systems, in our organization, went to this unit later on and became the innovators and later built those Israeli startups.
Ah, okay. And how did that experience help to shape your thinking and also the development of your fast approach to multi-talent development?
Look, I think that when you do something for a very long time, you start to see patterns or you look at your habits on how you do things. And since I'm highly interested in developing methodologies, it's my passion since I was very young, I was trying to see that how I'm taking what I'm doing, intuitively, or my teachers, and I started to define the models of how our teachers work, how their mind works, what works in the methodology. Because for me, to create something which is, I would say, future-proof adaptable skill transfer was the main issue because the model was Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, he was able to transfer knowledge from one field to another, from music to arts, from arts to engineering, and so on. So I was working on a research. Millions of dollars were invested in this research to see how do you create an innovator and how can you do it in such a simple way that anyone can study. Because to make it complex, it's easy. You can make innovation very complex. And so for me, it was, what is innovation? And for me, innovation was academic research and technological development, scientific development. And the moment you can understand how to teach, how to make a research and find information, and how to take this information and make the new connections in the Lego parts and create the solutions, that was the essence of our work.
And how did all of that come together into the Games of Genius program?
Since we wanted to start at a very young age, we did one of the first researches that we did is we took video cameras and we watched children at home with their mothers, in the afternoon, what the mother is doing to develop their child. Okay, and you see that becoming innovative or creative and talented or something, it's just a process. We found that there is a process there. We watched them. We watched hundreds of hours of videos and to see. And so we understood that it's not inborn. The second part is, how do you create a process saying that you are moving from one exercise or game to another game, to another game, to another game, and you start to accumulate huge abilities. So my work was, and my team work was, analyzing and creating a refined methodology that if you go to game number one, and it's a challenge for you, but it's a challenge within 20 seconds you can solve. If you go to game number, let's say 10,000, you will not be able to do it. However, if you did 9,991 of them, number 10,000 is as easy as number one, because the brain accumulates abilities all the time to create complex solutions and high-level solutions. So the only thing was important for us is to find what is the thing that goes before and after something. So we use a lot of systems dynamics research capabilities to understand how this system works. And the moment you understand, you can create a process, which is step by step by step by step, and you see the results, and it accumulates like tenfold.
It's interesting. So you're talking about process and system dynamics. Is this already taught in schools? And if it's not, why not?
In most schools in the world, they're trying to teach a little bit of innovation, coding, project-based learning, but they found it only in the last 5 years. It's really hard to find the right people. It's really, really hard to find the right, professionals in the market. The companies are searching for highly talented, innovative, productive people, and it's really hard to find them. So the school system, they went teaching the methods from 1960s until the 80s, and the methods from the 80s until the 2000, and the methods from 2000 until 2020. But they've not realized that the world has been changing so fast. New innovations every day, 100 innovations per day. Something is happening in the market. Everything is changes. People want to study from screens instead of studying from teachers. They did not understand the change. And since they did not understand the change and what happened in the market and why kids love to use YouTube more than anything else, they're just trying to figure out what to do now. What we did is we understood where it's going. We analyzed and we're trying to understand what will be the need in 2040. Only in 2040. This is what is important for us. 2040, what is the need in the market? What do we need? And the moment you understand the need of 2040, then you know what to do. So schools mainly don't do it, but we started to do it in Israel 20 years ago. And suddenly we also do this in Europe and in other countries now, because now they are realizing that it's almost too late. They want us to leapfrog education. Quite hard, as you know.
Absolutely. So Opher, can you explain what is Games of Genius?
Games of Genius is a series of games that help the child to understand patterns. There are, patterns in nature, phenomena, we would say. There are patterns in technology. There are patterns of behavior of human. And we teach children to watch, to understand, and to model them. The moment you model them mathematically, they are transferable, which means the child can play a game, let's say in martial arts, and then he can go to a history class and immediately use the same mathematical model that he studied in the martial arts within the history class and see patterns and processes in history. And now he's enthusiastic about history because now he sees something in history, some patterns that's really useful for him to play basketball in the afternoon. Now he's engaged in studying history because it's useful for him. You see, when it's not useful, people don't want to study something, right? So the Games of Genius is just training the brain in 4 elements, 4 skills. Pattern recognition, see patterns everywhere to understand how things work, and then restructure them by copy change and create things that can work, that have not been working before or never been there before, which we call pattern design. We make analogy from one field to another. I mean, how can I take knowledge from nature to science, from nature to technology? It works this way in nature, therefore it can work this way in technology. This is what makes a genius, because he's bringing his answers from other fields. Because within the fields, everybody knows the same answers. So Games of Genius is just games that we play mostly in the after-school activities. We play them once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. Every time is like 3 to 7 minutes. And suddenly something happens and kids can see objectively patterns and model them into mathematical forms, which can be used in any field.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks, Opher. Now, parents, if you knew that your kid will be able to learn the thinking skills that he or she needs to be a huge success in school, would you be willing to do something just a little different? Would you be willing to unplug and spend 7 minutes each day, just 7 minutes of quality time with your child?
But, to get results with children, especially with your own child, you need to put time.
Yeah.
You need to be consistent. You need to add it to your daily routine. I mean, it's your child. And you need to be willing to be really involved and do something for your child's future.
Yeah. And we're talking about 7 minutes a day, right? You guys can do that. Can't you, mom, dad? Yeah. You can make that time for your kid, right? So make me a promise. Promise that you will devote 7 minutes each day just for the next 30 days. By the end of this training, you're going to have a proven award-winning system that's easy to follow so you can nurture your child's talents and spend more quality time together doing it. And what I find really amazing about your methodology, Opher, is that you've honed this down to the 3 secrets of polymath thinkers. Opher, do you want to take over? Tell us more about the first secret.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first secret in the 3 skills that your child really needs.
Yeah.
And the 3 of them are very simple. The pattern recognition, the pattern design, and the ability to make analogies fast and accurate. These are the basis of what is being called polymath thinking. These are the ABCs of the language of innovation.
So it's pattern recognition, pattern design, and analogy. So it sounds pretty simple, right? You guys in the audience, you guys are following, yeah?
The second secret is that you can boost your child's academic performance in ways that are really fun. So memorization is not the same as teaching them thinking. My methodology teaches kids to think while they're having fun. The third secret I'm going to show you is how you can strengthen your child's talents. As parents, we often feel too busy to spend time with our children, and we are unsure of ourselves. Do we do the right thing? And of course, we are afraid to make mistakes, because mistakes means that our child will not, survive the future. You see, we cannot be experts in every field. And you know what? You don't need to be an expert in every field. You just need to follow a precise method. And if you invest only 7 minutes per day, you will be doing something fun together, of course. Okay. And at that time, your child will discover how to think in patterns. And imagine you are capable of explaining to him easily in less than 30 seconds how to transform the knowledge from music to dance, from dance to mathematics, from mathematics to arts, from arts to engineering, to robotics. Imagine that everything can be transferred in the world. Every data, every knowledge, every skill can be adaptable to many areas. So now, children, they light up and they become so excited because they see it everywhere.
You guys getting this? Mom and dad, the grandparents who are with us? This is making sense, right? Well, there's an old way of doing things, and that's relying on the school system, running the kids all over town to enrichment programs and after-school activities, or plugging your kids into a device or a movie. And there is a new way. It's a disruptive innovation in how to teach our children. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. Can you guys imagine having easy ways of being more engaged with your kids, spending quality time, just 7 extra minutes a day? You could give that to your kids, right? How would you like Opher's help with this? How would you like to work with Opher to implement what we just talked about? Are you guys okay with me showing you what that's all about? What's in the package that we're offering? All right. Well, here's what you're going to get. The full video recordings from Opher's recent parents workshop in Toronto. This was a 5-day workshop where he went into depth on the FAST methodology. And Opher shows you exactly what super moms and dads like you can do to raise successful kids. Now, I've watched that program several times. It's awesome. The second thing that you're going to get is Opher's accelerated program. You don't need to know how to build an airplane to go fly someplace. You just have to buy a ticket, right? And that's what the accelerated program lets you do. You can start playing these enriching 7-minute games with your kids right away. And there's a new offline game to play every day. The next thing that's included is live Q&A sessions with Opher. He'll answer all your questions. He wants to make sure that you understand the FAST methodology and help you stay on track playing the games. And you'll also get access to the private Facebook member community where you'll share your experiences with other super moms and super dads just like you. These are parents who also care enough to invest their time. These are parents who are, like you, committed to giving their children an edge in the future. This is what one super mom said in the Toronto workshop. She said, and I quote, "It changed a lot of my previous conceptions of education. This is really impactful in terms of what I can do at home to better prepare my children for the future." And another super mom who claimed that she was not a math person said, "Now I'm excited about math. I'm excited to transfer the same excitement to my kids, to have them be able to see math everywhere." This program, we call it Games of Genius, has worked for parents who have attended the workshop. It's worked for top Israeli students, leading companies including Disney Imagineering and IBM. And it's being implemented now in schools all around Europe. It's working for so many people. Do you think it could work for you? I believe so too. When I began working with Opher, I said to him, in bringing this to parents in North America, we've got two choices. The first option is to give it away as cheaply as possible and just try to get as many parents as possible to use this groundbreaking approach and prepare their children for success. And the second option requires a little more investment from you parents. But in exchange, Opher can devote far more time and resources to guarantee your success in using the system. Those were our two choices. Does that make sense? Okay, good. You have two choices as well. And your two choices are this. You can invest some time and some money, and in minutes from now, you could start to play these enriching games with your child. Over the next few weeks, at your own pace, you can learn the FAST methodology. And every day, you'll have fun, enriching games to play for 7 minutes a day. Or you can end this training session. You can go to bed tonight, just like any other night. And tomorrow you could sit around and do exactly the same thing that you did today with your kids. You have that choice, right? You have to decide which one is more exciting. You have to decide what you want in your life. Do you want to go back to doing exactly what you did yesterday? I'm guessing not, because otherwise, why'd you stay and watch this training? You want to make sure that your kid succeeds, and you can't do that by going back to doing what you did yesterday. You can't do it by trusting the school curriculum or spending a fortune on classes and tutors or leaving your child's future in the hands of other people. This is your choice. You see that, right? Well, our mission here at Games of Genius is to change the world and prepare our children for success in the future. So we want this program to be accessible to everyone. And here's why. We're offering the Games of Genius program right now, absolutely free for the next 7 days. After that, it's just $97 per month. This is a month-to-month membership, which means that you can cancel anytime. But we know you're going to stick around because you and your child are going to absolutely love Games of Genius. I'm going to put a button up there for you. I want you to go ahead. It's at the bottom right. I want you to click that button, or go ahead and navigate over to gamesofgenius.com/free trial and grab hold of your 7-day free trial offer today. We're making this offer very affordable. Parents, grandparents, you guys with me? I'm sure you can relate to this. You've spent more than that on presents and on toys that your child played with for a day, and it either broke or the kids lost interest. And if you're a grandparent, you've got lots of grandchildren. Well, the good news is this is something all of them can share. Remember, there is a time investment too, and this is what's going to separate the super moms and the super dads from all the rest. You see, we want parents to be part of this only if they're willing to show up for their kids, only if you're willing to devote some time, 7 minutes a day. And we want parents who will be involved. And no, we don't like working with the type of parent who expects somebody else to raise their kid for him. We want the type of parent that will take action, the type of super parent who will do what it takes to make things happen. If you're the type that thinks the school should do it, if you're the type who's just too busy, go ahead and hang up now. But if you want to take positive actions to give your child an edge, take advantage of our free trial offer right now. The URL again is www.gamesofgenius.com/free trial. So to recap, you're getting the full video recordings of the live Toronto Parents Workshop. You're getting the accelerated program to start playing the award-winning games right away. You're getting live Q&A sessions with Opher. You're getting access to the private member community on Facebook. And you're getting Opher's special once-a-month class on taking the FAST method into pop culture with movies and books and all the things your kids love. And you're getting all of that absolutely free for the next 7 days. After that, it's just $97 per month. The real question that you have to ask yourself is this: is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time to check this out? Of course, absolutely. It's a no-brainer. It's free for 7 days. And there's no commitment. You can cancel your membership anytime. Take advantage of the free trial offer and find out for yourself. Just click the link or go to gamesofgenius.com/free trial. Okay, we've got a lot of questions that have come in, so let's get back to Opher. Opher, I want to just say thanks for sticking around as I explain how all these super moms and dads can get involved in how to raise a successful child. And we have a bunch of questions that came in from the last time that we did this training, and a few others that have come in today. Can you stick around with me for maybe the next 20 minutes or so and help me answer them?
Sure, Mark. What I need to know what the audience would really like to know.
Sure. So here's a question. Are all of the games online?
The course materials, yes, they are online, but this is the place where you can learn and how to use the technique. But the game itself is being played offline, at the kitchen table, at the hall, outside the house. This is what we call interactive because you will actually be interacting with your child.
That's the original definition of interactive. It's so funny. They call video games interactive, and they're not at all, right? So that's great. Well, so the games are offline. You got that, Mom? All right, cool. So another question is, why do we assert that it's pattern recognition, pattern design, and analogy, that those are the skills that kids need? What about coding or reading or math?
Well, if you look at coding, you will find that you need a high-level skill in pattern recognition and pattern design, first of all. You have to go to the basics first. If you go to math, it's about patterns that you need to understand them. The moment you understand them, it's easy. If you go to reading, into stories, into scripts, you will see there are patterns there. There are structures, there are systems, and you need to see those patterns and redesign them to create something new. So pattern recognition is the basic. Look at the child, how he learns. And the child is 2 years old or 1 year old. He's learning. He's looking at those patterns of your behavior in order to copy you, because the child is learning that if he will cry this way, he will get his candy. And if he will cry this way, you will not send him to school today. They are learning those patterns, they're analyzing them all the time. And that's the way children learn naturally until we'll kill it when we send them to school.
Well, you brought up a term earlier, and we've got a question on this. What is polymath thinking?
Well, I will tell you this. First of all, if people really want to know what polymath is, just type Wikipedia, okay, and go to polymath. There's a whole explanation about polymath. It's not my invention. The basic person who was a genius in that field was Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was able to understand science, arts, technology, everything in the same way. He was able to do analogies between field and understanding patterns, and then make an analogy of that pattern to another field. He was what we used to call a Renaissance man. Over the years, we've been teaching people to have professions. However, since everything is being automated now and on artificial intelligence, we again need to become Renaissance men of these times. Okay, so the person who described it beautifully in the 13th century was Battista Albert, when he said a Renaissance man or a polymath thinker is a man who can do all things if he wills. So we found it in many ways in Howard Gardner research and so on. But let me explain to you one thing. The polymath thinker has high level of curiosity and imagination. And he's using pattern recognition to understand the world and imagine new patterns to design them and new compositions. But if you look at today's most probably richest and successful people in the world, all of them has these two elements: curiosity and imagination, understanding data, being able to analyze patterns in data and make analogies from other fields. If you look at Jeff Bezos, if you look at Steve Jobs, if you look at Steve Wozniak, Elon Musk, Jack Ma, Mark Zuckerberg, these are all polymath thinkers. Their level of curiosity is finding different ways, different models, different business models, different technologies that are changing the world. It's because of their technology and their high level of imagination, which pattern recognition, pattern design is the essence of it. If you go backwards a little bit, 100 years ago, it was Leonardo. 100 years ago, it was Tesla. And, people think that Tesla is a car, but Tesla was, the most amazing innovator, in the world. If you look at Albert Einstein,
Tesla,
and if you learn about Albert Einstein or Leonardo or Elon Musk or Steve Wozniak, all these people had high level curiosity, and what they did and what they still do is pattern recognition. They understand the patterns of behavior on Facebook so they can analyze your emotions. This is what they do in those patterns, using words that people write, This is the expertise of this world. When we combine everything from different fields together and be able to analyze them, data analysis, and other different analysis, in order to create new, better products and services that can serve millions of people.
Yeah, and so the pattern recognition and pattern design and analogy, that's the ABCs of polymath, as you said. That's really interesting stuff. Well, we've got another question here, Opher. If machines and artificial intelligence will replace doctors and lawyers and people, clerks in retail, where we're already seeing this, what's going to be left for people?
Well, let's go backwards for a second. We see that robots take places of human. You can see robots can cook and get 2 Michelin stars, and you can see robots that can do so many amazing things, and robots that can build robots, and robots that can build, cars, autonomous cars, and electric cars. It's all robots doing this. So the hard work will be done by robotics. The management of the robots will be done by artificial intelligence, which means they will analyze data. So every time a person is driving with a Tesla, the data is being sent to a central computer, and the computer is analyzing 20,000 drivers in order to teach the car to drive like 20,000 people instead of having, one person who knows a little bit about the world. Now, AI will manage data and even will make decisions. The AI will make decisions how to drive the car. Please remember that. And the car was built by a robot, and the car by itself is a robot. It's automated. So what is left for human? The invention part, the research and development. Kids, they can search online, but do they know how to research online? And development, what does it mean? How do you take data that you found and you create something new, a new solution, a new product to the world that will be created by machines, by robots, and will be managed by AI? What is left for us is research and development. And I believe that there are more than 2 billion people around there, 1 billion human adults and 1 billion kids who are totally not ready for research and development, which is the future. If you go to Amazon, you know how much money they pay to hire a person in research and development? No. More than any company in the world. And why is that? Because this is the future.
That's amazing. Well, let's see. We have another question. Let's get to this other question, shall we? So is the Games of Genius program only games?
Yes, it's only games. It's only games, but you need to understand that something will happen to you playing those games. You will restructure how you see the world, how you feel the world, how you smell the world, how you understand the world. So is it only games, or is it a total change of what I call data set instead of mindset? Mindset is kind of vague, but this is changing of data set, how your brain will function. Of course, there are games, thousands of games. There are a lot of ideas and concepts. And over time, you will create your own games. Yes, it's quite simple, but it's moving very fast to change our abilities.
Wow. And are these games like video games?
No, of course not. Yes, you'll get your videos in order to understand how to play. This is real life games. Of course, if the child is playing on some kind of an Xbox and he can do, pattern recognition there, and he can use the data then to play, basketball with his father or with his friends, that's great because they can do it. They can use data being transferred. But the games are not video games. These are real games in the real world.
So we have another question that came in the last session. My child is on the autism spectrum. Is Games of Genius appropriate?
Well, this is a hard question. So, look, we are raising one child, and she's on the spectrum, and we've used a lot of those skills on those games to try to let her play with it and understand the world and understand communication skills and so on, and it worked nicely. Statistically, it doesn't say that it will work on all of them. However, when we started to work in the Czech Republic in 9 different cities and in tens of schools, there are classes with a lot of kids on the spectrum. And we found they love it so much because kind of logically they can understand emotions. And logically they can understand communication. And there are a lot of games there. And one of the games we're using is drawing comics in a very systematic way. And through those comics, the child starts to understand. It does facial recognition. You understand what it means. What is the feeling of things? And for children with who are on the spectrum, to develop their IQ is not the crucial thing because they usually have a very high IQ. However, they don't know how to transfer it into the real world. And this is what we do. So is it good for them? I believe that truthfully, that it is very appropriate for them as far as we have seen.
Yeah. And parents, if you're considering it, if that's your child, you can give it a try, can't you? Worst case scenarios, you try it. So, all right, Opher, we have another question that came in here. Do we need any special equipment to play the games?
No, basically, you can use any equipment that you find in the house. That's kind of the easiest way. However, it would be nice if you will have some of the right toys at home that you can get somewhere, like a xylophone, okay, or like a piano, or like, something that you can play music. For martial arts, you don't need it. For cooking, you go to the kitchen. For chess, you need a chessboard, but most of the things you can find like in stores. Most of those things you can find probably at home. You probably already own them.
Well, and what's the ideal age to start this with my children?
I would say this. We started it with kids of 5 years old. It worked beautifully. Some kids can start even at 4 years old, I would say. The ideal age is after they finish their first year in school or by starting the first year in school. Okay. Well, what we do like in Europe today and in Singapore, we take them in the first year and teach them this from first day in school. But you can go backwards a little bit and a year before to have it, so the child will have advantage when he will get into class.
Here's another question that came up. What are your credentials as a teacher?
That's really interesting. I'm 62 and I'm teaching already for 59 years. Basically, I started to teach my puppets when I was 3 years old. I just wanted to be a parent, a teacher since I was born. It was very simple why I wanted it, because my father was an amazing teacher. And I was, just admiring him and wanted to follow, his passion of teaching. during the years, I started to teach piano when I was 13 years old. And I was a high school teacher for 7 years when I was 27 years old. And I trained more than 3,000 musicians in my life. And then I trained another 2,000 executives and for companies in career development and other skills. And I built a rock school and a jazz department school and an entrepreneurship school. Basically, I was in there forever. That's my strongest passion, is to teach and to write smart methodologies, as smart as I can make them. And for me, smart means simple.
That's the toughest definition of smart too, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this other question that we have here is, how long will it take to begin to teach my child with your program?
Around 3 minutes. Watch the video, look at this working page for 2 seconds, and you got it. Just go and play with the child. I mean, you practice with him, and he practices with you. He practices this with you. And look, we have seen those children. They're just waiting for the moment to play those games. Just waiting for this moment. Okay, so it's quite easy. So you just go, you watch this video, which sometimes it's 3 minutes or 4 minutes video, and that's it. You can just try it. And if you want to learn about the theory behind it and watch some other videos that we have, some more content, you can even do it later, because you will see the results anyway. So if we want to be more knowledgeable, then you can go and watch some more the theory behind it and so on and so on. But to start, 3 minutes from now.
Wow. Moms, dads, if this is something where your kids are about to come home from school, perfect time. All right. Well, how many games are included in Games of Genius?
I believe there are a couple of hundreds there. Overall, over the years, we will be able to share 14,400 games. However, there's no need really to use all of them, because I've seen children who have done 7,000 of them, like in 3 years, and they're totally geniuses. They never need to go through all these games. But we have a couple of hundreds for now, so we can start immediately. And if you play one game a day, it takes 7 minutes. I mean, you can finish 300 to 500 per year easily.
Wow. 7 minutes a day. That's incredible. So, Opher, we have another question that came in. I have 2 children. My son is 8 and my daughter is 4. How could this be age appropriate for both of them?
It's quite simple. They start from 0. The 8 years old and the 4 years old, they start from 0 because they're learning a new language. It's like, imagine you take your child and you teach him Japanese. If he's 8 and if your daughter is 4, let's say they learn 4 words, both of them will know 4 words. It's a new language. It's natural language, but it's, and what happened is, because it's so surprising, you will see that the 8 years old and the 4 years old will play together. And you will see other things. That sometimes the 8 years old is really surprised by the ability of the 4 years old. And sometimes the 4 years old will admire, she will admire her brother of 8 years old, to showing more possibilities out there in the world of pattern recognition. Kids of 4 years old, they live by pattern recognition. And 8 years old, before they will start to lose it, would love to go back there. So there's something so mutual between them. And you can put grandma in between them and she will enjoy it.
This question comes up all the time. Does it really only take 7 minutes a day?
Hey, you don't trust me, huh? Yes, it does. I was able, I work on this methodology for 18 years. Okay, I invested, besides of, I would say, probably thousands of tens of thousands of hours to research, to make it, and I spent just on research for 18 years, I spent $1.5 million to research it, to see if it works. And the reason is how to simplify into something so basic, so simple, that does not require too much time. And sometimes you can learn a thing in 2 minutes if you have the right methodology or the right teacher, something that you have not been able to learn in 10 hours or 20 hours with the wrong teacher or the wrong methodology. We know it. So we condensed everything into 7 minutes. And in those 7 minutes, the results you get are totally amazing.
Oh, that's great. Is it okay to skip a day?
Yeah, why not? Of course you can skip a day. It's not a punishment. I mean, you should follow the program, but if you want to take a day off, take a day off. Let's see if your child will want to take a day off.
I think that's the real test, yeah.
You will be in trouble because they will want to do it again and again. And you can do it everywhere. I mean, you go on vacation, you can do it everywhere. You go to the mountains, you do pattern recognition. You go to the woods, you do pattern recognition. You go hiking, you do pattern recognition. It's not something that you just have to do the exercise. The exercise become a language, and suddenly you can see it everywhere. And you design things out outdoors, in your yard, everywhere. It will be everywhere. You would start to invent your own games based on it. So I don't think you will skip a day, but if you want to skip, good luck to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? People's lives are busy, but as long as parents, as long as you're putting in the time, you could do that. It's 7 minutes, right?
Yeah.
All right. This question came up. How can pattern design make my kid successful?
Let me tell you this. If you look at Steve Jobs, okay, he came from design. He was not a technology guy. Okay, he was an artist. And he got a good friend, Steve Wozniak, and both of them invented, Apple. And one of the things they've designed, and I'm saying designed, was the iPhone. One of them was the designer of the idea. One of them was the technology expert behind it. And they had a team of research and development, of course, to create the iPhone and so on. Design is everywhere. So if you do pattern design, you start to notice, first of all, other designs and implement them in your life, because you can design a robot and you can design a game and you can design a relationship. This is all about design. And you take the analogies from those designs that you are making. You see, 60% of what we do in our life, even more, is visual. And design is very important because our world most of it is visual. A little bit is taste and sound and so on. And if you look at all the products in the world, it's about design, and books are about design. It's not only content. So a child is successful because he understands how to analyze patterns and how to design new patterns or design new technologies or design new concepts. And if you look at those successful people that I talked before, Elon Musk, they are designers by nature.
Yeah, totally creative. Well, thank you so much, Opher, for sticking around to answer those questions from the super moms and dads who have joined us.
First of all, you're welcome, Mark. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone here again soon. I really want to follow. I really want to see. And I really want to help.
Isn't he great? Last two things. I promised you guys something very special, and I am going to deliver that right now. I'm going to put into the chat a link, and that link is going to give you access to one of the lessons from inside of the Toronto Parents Workshop. That link is there right now. I call this game the clapping game. It's not the first game that you're going to play with your kids, but I want you to see how Opher takes something that is really complex and uses mathematics to simplify, how he breaks down the patterns. You will be amazed. And that is our gift to you. Well, parents and grandparents, thank you so much for joining us. And Opher, thank you again on behalf of the parents and grandparents who are here. I just want to strongly encourage everybody that is listening to take advantage of the free 7-day trial offer. Now, there is a credit card required, but again, you're not charged. It's 7 days free. You get complete access to Games of Genius and Opher's accelerated program and all the goodies that come with it. And after those 7 days, it's just $97 per month. You can cancel this membership anytime. There is no obligation. So do yourself a favor, do your children a favor, and go and check it out for yourself. There is no risk for you to do that. Do it now. Thanks again for joining us today. Go to gamesofgenius.com/free trial. Take advantage of the offer and have an amazing day.